Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, AEW's Full Gear. It was on last night, Saturday night. I just got a chance to get it finished up today. So I'm going to run down the card, star ratings and everything, and some things I thought about the show. So, first of all, we had 3 pre-show matches. We had a 10-man tag. We had the Factory, Aaron Solo, Cole Karter, Lee Johnson, Nick Comoroto, QT Marshall going up against Best Friends, Trent Beretta, Chucky T, Orange Cassidy, Romero, and it was a mystery who the 5th guy would be. We all kind of knew who it was going to be. We knew it was going to be Danhausen, but he comes out kind of in a, I guess you would say, heel Danhausen, kind of the dark side of Danhausen. And yeah, it was kind of, yeah, actually that's what I thought of the match too, believe it or not. It was an okay match. 10-man tags just get so, what I'm looking for here. You know, yeah, exactly. I give it 3-star. Best Friends, Romero and Danhausen ended up winning. Clusterfuckery, basically. Yeah, I'm tired today. Next up, we had Bryan Cage versus Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks, had that big old thing going on with Lance Archer, where the match on Rampage started in backstage. He got attacked the week before. He had another match here against Bryan Cage. You're like, okay, if he beat Lance Archer, what's the odds of him losing to Bryan Cage? 0, which is true. It was a pretty good match, though, I thought. Ricky Starks is kind of that underdog, kind of like coming from, getting attacked and beaten down and coming back and everything. I ended up giving it 3 1/4. Next up, we had Eddie Kingston versus Jun Akiyama. Apparently, Jun Akiyama is holy grail of wrestlers for Eddie Kingston, the guy that Eddie Kingston wanted to be like. He models his career after this guy. I guess he wrestles for DDT over in New Japan, or in Japan. And, when I saw him on Rampage, teaming with Takeshita, I thought the guy was pretty talented myself. Him and Eddie Kingston it was a brawl. A lot of the moveset, you could see how Eddie Kingston's like, okay, kind of moveset after him. Eddie Kingston ended up getting the victory. I give it 3 3/4 stars. Good match. Really good match. One of the best pre-show matches they've had. And then this main card starts with a steel cage match. We have a Luchasaurus with Christian Cage going up against Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Honestly, I think this match was overbooked. Whew, I'm telling you, when you have the match start in a steel cage, there's normally a steel cage match in other companies will be pinfall submission or escape the cage. Either get speared through the cage, escape over the cage, go through the door. Whatever, just get out of the cage, basically. This one was pinfall or submission only. Okay, that's kind of different, but okay, that's cool. I'm good with that. Well, you had Luchasaurus first third of the match just dominating the match. Just annihilating Jack Perry. Kept hitting him into the cage, ended up cutting him open. He was bleeding pretty bad, right along the hairline. And then you had middle part of the match where you had Jack Perry back on offense. And, okay, he's going to pull it out. And then you had Christian Cage walk up behind the referee or stand on the outside and just sneak the key out of his pocket and go over and start unlocking the door. Security comes out, takes Christian Cage away. Well, the door was unlocked. So Luchasaurus goes out of the cage, gets a chair, 2 chairs, gets a table. They fight outside the cage. They fight over in front of Jake Perry's mom, Jungle Boy's mom. They put the chairs and stuff in the cage. Oh, the door gets closed again, but apparently the door didn't get locked because there was a spot later where Jungle Boy's climbing up the side of the cage to do the jump off the top of it, and when he stepped on the door, he kicked the door open. The referee had to close the door back. It's like, really? So the end spot was a table in the ring. You had Jungle Boy coming off the top of the cage on with Luchasaurus laying on the table. Comes off on top of elbow drop. Jack Perry gets the victory. I give it 3 3/4 because it did have some cool spots in it. But I felt it was kind of, we didn't need the outside stuff. We didn't need the table spot. We didn't need that stuff. But it was there for our enjoyment. Next up, we had the AEW Trios title on the line. We had champions, Death Triangle, Free Phoenix, Penta, Zero, Miedo, and Pac, Bastard Pac, versus the Elite, returning the Elite, Kenny Omega, Nick and Matt Jackson, the Young Bucks. This was just, I thought it was freaking amazing. I mean, it was a spot fest when we all knew it was going to be. We all knew what Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks have done in the past in AEW. Basically, it was just that, and you added in Pac and Kenny Omega, which, I mean, okay, I'm good with that. It was just crazy. Yes, there was moves just to do moves because they look cool to do. There's moves that were done for no reason, just to look cool. But personally, I'm fine with that. Especially when it flows in the match, because it did. It was one of the spots where you had like 4 of them trying to super kick each other, and then they all kicked each other, and they all fell and got up and kicked, looked at each other like, what did we just do, It's based on what these teams have done in the past. That's the kind of moveset they have. So I would go with it. I know some people are like, that was a stupid, no point in that. But I was good with it, honestly. Again, I thought the match was incredible. Death Triangle ended up getting the victory. I give it 4.5. Found out later that Tony Khan has made this the best of 7. So for the next 6 weeks, we are going to have Death Triangle versus the Elite. Now, my curiosity is it going to be, so if the Elite win this coming Wednesday, are they Trios champion? Is each match for the title? And then what happens at the end of the 7 matches? The 7 match is supposed to be, what did they say, February at LA, the Forum in LA. It's going 7. Because I think that's the big show they want. It's part of the Winter is Coming show and everything. So I think they're going to carry that out, which is fine with me. 7 of these matches this year, next year. Top 5 match of the year. I mean, just, here you go. Again, I give it 4.5. Death Triangle winning. I absolutely enjoyed it. One of the best matches of the night, to be honest with you. Next up, we had the AEW TBS title line. We had champion Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose. We all know Nyla Rose stole the title, claimed she was champion, and Jade Cargill is undefeated, so she never lost the title. Since we've been kind of looking back at the loss of Eddie Guerrero anniversary this past week, personally, I thought it was a little bad taste to come out in a lowrider with Eddie Guerrero, Nyla Rose, Maria Shafir, and some random dude driving it. Coming out in a lowrider like Eddie used to come out. That was in poor taste. But it was kind of cool. I'm like, really? But hey, I get it. You kind of looking back on Eddie, and since Vickie Guerrero is the manager of Nyla Rose, it kind of makes sense. But it's like, yeah, it's a little in poor taste to me. But anyway, it happened. This match, neither of these women are good wrestlers. I mean, I don't know what people see in Jade Cargill. She's tall and lanky and can talk. Her look last night, I don't understand what the look was. She changes her look for every pay-per-view, and it was just bad. The match wasn't trash. I mean, I give it 2.5. Worst match on the card. But, I mean, yeah, Jade Cargill got the victory, so she's 42-0 now. where do you kind of draw the line at that? Are you trying to do a Goldberg version where it's 100 going to get like 200-0 or something? And then to me, that kind of wastes the title on her. Because like when Goldberg did it, you build him up and then the title on. I don't know where they're going with this. What's the point having the title if the title is just going to be on her and be defended every once a month, and her be undefeated for 100 whatever days? Next up, we had the Fatal 4-Way for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title. Chris Jericho champion versus Bryan Danielson versus Claudio Castagnoli versus Sammy Guevara. This match was actually better than I thought it would be, but it wasn't as good as I thought it would be, if that makes any sense. Sammy Guevara, I was figuring it's going to almost be like 2-on-2, because it was like 2 Jericho Appreciation Society versus 2 Blackpool Combat Club. But it didn't work. It didn't seem like it worked that way. More of a 4-way. Guevara did some moves on Jericho. There was points in this match you thought any of the 4 was going to win. It was freaking amazing. I was really hoping Bryan Danielson, he hit some, I can't remember what some of the moves are called, but he hit a freaking move on, I want to say Guevara or Claudio, one of the two. And I was hoping he was going to get the pinfall. I was like, that'd be perfect, especially with Final Battle in 3 weeks. But Jericho ended up getting the victory. It was announced backstage later that him and Sammy are good, even though he knew Sammy would bring it, but he was okay with it. And Orange Cassidy walks up and tells Jericho, I got a friend who wants to wrestle you for that title. Really good friend, by the way. Tomohiro Ishii. So Tomohiro Ishii will be at Dynamite this week to battle Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title. Yes, please. Thank you. And then we'll get Orange Cassidy and Jake Hager for the All Atlantic title. Okie dokie. But anyway, that happened. But Jericho got the victory here. I ended up giving it 4. I enjoyed it. Several moments where we thought somebody else was going to win. So it was overall a really good match. Next up, we had Dr. Britt Baker versus the returning Saraya. 5 years off. We all know her story. Paige from WWE broke her neck. Didn't think she'd ever be able to wrestle again. Got cleared. Now her brother was at ringside. He came in for it. I did not realize who the family was either. I was looking at stuff online, and her nephew is Ricky Knight Jr. Roy Knight is her dad. I'm like, oh crap! These are the Knight name is named that. Ricky Knight Jr. is one of the RKJ is one of the guys I know from Red Pro. He had a banger of a match versus Will Ospreay. And I'm like, oh, she's part of that family. Okay, I've always thought she was talented, but it's like, oh, it's kind of cool knowing that little fact there. But seeing Saraya back in the ring, it's kind of surreal to be honest with you. When she popped into WWE and from NXT, was the longest reigning NXT Women's Champion, 300 some days, comes to the main roster on her first night. She beat. I can't remember I think she beat AJ Lee for the title, I think it was, or somebody like that. And became champion, and then basically they stripped her of her NXT championship. It's like, they were trying to shoot this chick to the moon. And she got hurt. It's like, the same with anybody, injuries and gone. But in fact, she was able to come back, which is really neat. Had a match against probably top 5 best women in professional wrestling right now. Definitely top 10. Dr. Britt Baker. Saraya got the victory that we kind of all figured she would. I give it 3-star. It could have been a little longer. She did take some really hard bumps on her neck and stuff, and she seemed to be okay. So, but I'll give that match 3 stars. Saraya getting the victory there. Next up, we had the AEW TNT Championship. We had all 3 of the horse fight here. We had champion Wardlow versus Samoa Joe, who is currently Ring of Honor TV champion, versus Powerhouse Hobbs. So we just had a big old boy fight here. Yeah, I really can't do Dusty Rhodes very well. But yeah, these hosses were going at it. Samoa Joe, yeah, from X Division days in TNA, he's lost a step or two. Let's say 3. From his in NXT days, yeah, he's lost 2 steps. From his Ring of Honor days, yeah, he's lost 3 steps. But he's still better than most, but not as good as he once was. Powerhouse Hobbs, kind of generic guy to me. Wardlow, I think he's talented. I think he can go far. But seeing Samoa Joe get the victory on Wardlow, or on Powerhouse Hobbs, Wardlow was not involved in the pinfall. Him submitting Powerhouse Hobbs, which is going to cause, looks like it started to cause some tension between Wardlow and Hobbs, because Hobbs tapped, cost Wardlow the title. Joe getting the victory, I give it 2 3/4 star. I hope they don't combine the AEW TNT title and the Ring of Honor television title. I'm hoping Ring of Honor gets a TV deal soon, and Joe can go ahead and defend them both on both shows. But I hope they don't try to combine them or anything. Next up, we had Jay Lethal teaming up with Double J, Jeff Jarrett versus Darby Allin and Sting. Now, if you would have told me when this year began, during 2022, I would see Jeff Jarrett in a match with Sting, I would see Ric Flair's retirement match, and I would see Ricky the Dragon Steamboat teaming up with FTR for one last match, all in the same calendar year, I would honestly ask you, is it 1995? No, it's 2022, and this is all happening. We've already had Ric Flair's last match. We have a match here with Double J, Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Darby Allin, and Sting. There was a TNA chant during this match. Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, Sting all in TNA. I would have done a WCW chant, Sting and Jeff Jarrett. And then this coming weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, Big Time Wrestling on Fight TV, we have Ricky the Dragon Steamboat coming out of retirement, teaming up with FTR. We have the Rock and Roll Express versus the Briscoes. Of course I bought these shows. There's 3 of them. Why wouldn't I? Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I went to, in 2014, WrestleMania 25, whatever year that was. He had a match. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat had a match versus him. It was him, Flair, and Jimmy Snuka versus Chris Jericho. The following month, Steamboat and Jericho had a match at whatever pay-per-view that was. It was good. I can't wait to see this. But anyway, back to this match. Jeff Jarrett. Oh my God. I've already seen him in NWA this year. I've seen Jeff Jarrett in NWA, WCW, WWF, WWE, TNA, Impact, AEW. Sting's my boy. Sting has always been my boy. Actually, this match wasn't too bad, to be honest with you. Darby Allin did this holy sick gets a ladder out, climbs up the ladder on the stage, was going to do a coffin drop onto Jeff Jarrett, who was laying down below, but was caught by Satnam Singh, whatever his name is. I'm like, holy hell. Yeah, I mean, it was just a cluster. I mean, it was a no DQ match. It was just a clusterfuck. It was fun, so I gave it 3-star. Darby Allin and Sting getting the victory. Next up, with the AEW Interim Women's World Championship on the line, we had champion Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter. These two, I like the backstory here. These two roomed together during COVID. They were really good friends. Went their separate ways. Jamie Hayter got in with Britt Baker. Can become the bad person, kind of bad, heelish. Reba and Britt Baker did come out with her and help her toward the end. Jamie Hayter did get the victory over Toni Storm with help. Britt Baker took the turnbuckle off and got hit for it too. She got kind of sandwiched when they went back into the ropes, and then Hayter pushed storm into the turnbuckle. She bounced her head off the exposed turnbuckle and then got the pinfall 1, 2, 3. Jamie Hayter, your AEW interim women's champion. So either they're going to strip Thunder Rosa or Thunder Rosa will be back. Not sure what's going on there. I actually like the outcome of this, to be honest with you. Jamie Hayter, watched her progress in Defiant Wrestling over the years. When she signed with AEW, I'm like, it's a hell of a talent AEW's getting there. But yeah, her new interim champion, I give it 3.5 stars. Well, that was a pretty good match. Next up, with the AEW World Tag Team titles on the line, champions The Acclaim, Max Caster and Tina Bowens versus Swerve and Our Glory, Swerve Strickland, and Keith Lee. The Acclaim is funny as hell. They're awesome. I think they're great. They're over as hell with the crowd. Swerve and Our Glory. Something different about Swerve Strickland. To be honest with you, I've watched him since 2019. Combination of Lucha Underground, Defy, and other places. Once he went to WWE and then got released, it's almost like his personality changed. It's almost like he became cocky. I just don't understand. I just don't really care for him now. This team with him and Keith Lee, I've never understood it anyway. They're former tag team champions, but they've always kind of been on different pages. Back in the day, we had that with Luger and Sting, where Luger was heel, Sting was face. Sting hated the fact that Luger did things against the rules. Same way here, Swerve is heel, Keith Lee is trying to be face. Keith Lee hates the fact that Swerve does things against the rules, and just had enough of it here. Swerve goes out in the crowd and brings a metal railing back and lays on a ringside like a ramp almost, and was going to use it. And there's a couple of spots where people almost went through it. Keith Lee ended up going through it with Max Caster, and so it's like you see the dissension kind of creeping up here between these two. And eventually, Swerve slapped Keith Lee instead of just annihilating him. Keith Lee just laughed and left Swerve, left it 2-on-1. The Acclaim ended up getting the victory. So still, tag team champions, The Acclaim. I don't know if it means Swerve and or Keith Lee are both going to, one or the other, going back to WWE. I know Keith Lee's girlfriend, Miedo, is back. Swerve was part of with Top Dollar, part of that Hit Row, part of that faction. I don't know if he's going to go back to that. I don't know where that's going to lead. But The Acclaim is still tag team champions. And then our main event. AEW World Heavyweight Title, champion Jon Moxley versus MJF. This crowd was nuts. They were cheering MJF and booing Moxley, which is fine. You can boo Mox all you want. But there was just little things in this match where at one point MJF gets the diamond ring out. William Regal marches down the ramp. He was on commentary. Yells at MJF, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. So MJF gets all mad, takes him around, throws it. And then these two, I mean, it was a fight. I mean, Mox doesn't give two shits. I love that about Jon Moxley. You'll see him on a Wrestling Revolver show. You saw him on Game Changer Wrestling. You see him in AEW. My guess is he, with taking the loss here, MJF winning the World Heavyweight title, we'll see Mox take some time off. But yeah, the ending spot here where William Regal pulls out brass knucks and just kind of slides him in the ring to MJF. MJF uses them on Mox to beat Mox. So Mox's manager gave MJF brass knucks to knock out Mox to win the title. So does that mean the Blackpool Combat Club is no more? Or does that mean MJF is a part of it and Mox is not? Is Regal not a part of it and he's going with MJF? We don't know. That's all to find out on Dynamite. I love the fact they left it like that. Instead of doing it where they walked out together or something. You leave it with, I have to watch Dynamite to know what's going on here. I love that fact of it. But that is Full Gear. Review. My star rating. Best match. The Trios match. Y'all know me. Y'all know what I like. Second best match. MJF Mox. Third best would have been the 4-way for the Ring of Honor World title. I think AEW is doing just fine without CM Punk. Some people may agree, disagree. I don't care. My opinion. That's the cool thing about pro wrestling. It's 90% opinion, 10% fact. The fact is, we had a pay-per-view. The fact is, MJF is your AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Everything else can be opinion. As always, thanks for watching the Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.